On this week's episode, we ask if God of War can revive the PS4. Is Call of Duty really ditching its campaign? And what has Spider-Man Homecoming done for Sony and the MCU? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we are back once again with the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly thank you for tuning in each and every week to both our shows, both the Pop Culture Cosmos and of course right here at the PCC Multiverse. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanica Media. You gotta check out all the great stuff that's going on today at humanicamedia.com, its YouTube channel, and of course, all of its audio outlets. It's my good friend, it's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, I'm just watching my dog in the corner of the screen running around in the background. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, he always likes to take. He always likes to be the star of the program, and yes, he does indeed. But it's going to be a great show we have for you today. We have Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire, talking about all the great trailers that have come out recently, including Deadpool 2, Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom, and so much more. He's going on a trailer frenzy and definitely going to be talking a lot about those trailers coming up here in a bit. Plus, Josh and I are going to be talking about a decision that was made in regards to the rumors surrounding the next Call of Duty, and also what has Spider-Man Homecoming done for the MCU, and also what has it done to revive Sony, and is it a good thing as far as the direction that they're going? But first, it's not a movie that's going to take it's not a movie that's going to take the front part of our program right now at the headline. It's actually another Friday release, which is kind of different from the usual Tuesday video game releases. It's another AAA release being put out on Friday. It is God of War by PlayStation, coming out this Friday to gamers everywhere, and they are so excited about this game coming out. It has garnered critical acclaim across the board, tens, almost virtually everywhere, as every major outlet. Everybody seems to be excited for it. It seems to tell a great narrative. But the bigger question I ask you, Josh, with God of War coming out to such high acclaim, can God of War be the catalyst to revive, I guess we probably want to say, a sluggish PS4? Because, you know, we got to admit this, it's actually on the downside of its sales now that it's reached over 70 to 75 million units sold. So now that it's on its downside, of course, as far the sales will be sluggish, but could God of War actually revive those sales? And we could see another spike for the PS4 for maybe another year or so because of it?
See, I'm torn on this. God of War has gotten very good reviews. Looks great. Everything I've heard about this game, it's fantastic. They actually took a character that had very few emotions before. He would grunt, chop things up, and sleep with women, and they turned him into a caring father and just a somber dude and somebody who you actually care about, and just the way that they developed the relationship between him and his son.
And
Supposed to
also
be
the way they care for the boy's mother and his wife, as far as what happened to her, and trying to accommodate her last wish.
right, and they even just they treat the mythology really well, because the guy who wrote it was actually, I think he said he majored in mythology, so that's interesting. But back to your question, do I think that it's going to get people interested in the PlayStation 4? Yeah, sure. Do I think they're gonna buy it? No, probably not. It's the PlayStation 4 has been out long enough now. to where if like a game like Uncharted or uh what are some of the other hits? Horizon Zero Dawn. If games like that weren't enough to pull you into the Sony family, I don't think that another God of War game is going to. Is it going to be enough to make current owners want to upgrade to like a PS4 Pro? I think so, definitely. Heck yeah, the same reason that like an Xbox One owner would probably upgrade to Xbox One X to play a new Halo game. I think that that has all the potential in the world, but you know, it is a God of War game, and yes, it's getting perfect reviews, but as for what effect it's going to have on people just going out and buying PlayStations, I don't think at the moment that it will. Maybe around the holidays, if there's a special bundle, yeah, it could garner some interest, but I don't know, man. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I see it as being a catalyst to probably increase sales at least a little bit for a short term spike, because I did speak out on the Retro City Retro City Games Facebook page. I asked that very question, and some of the feedback I got was, in fact, that for the first time, people are actually interested in purchasing a PlayStation 4 because of it. I also think that not only this game, but you also got Detroit Becoming Human. You've also got The Last of Us 2, and you still have more solid to very good PlayStation exclusives still on the way that will be supported for the PlayStation 4 before the inevitable PlayStation 5 comes, maybe a year-ish, 2 years, what have you. So it looks like at this point in time, I think it will invigorate and generate sales. I agree with you. I think it's going to be geared more towards the PlayStation 4 Pro than the actual regular PlayStation, because I think people will really go and geek out because it is such a beautiful game and such a cinematic wonder for the video game industry as far as the storytelling is concerned. And I know you noted before we went actually on the air here about how amazing it is that for the first time in video game history that it's just basically a one cut all the way, no other cuts going here or left or whatnot, that it's just basically a smooth transition all the way forward, as you progress through the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is a kind of a new thing. Even when I don't want to call, they're not cutscenes per se. Even when like the NPCs, I don't even know if you'd call them NPCs, but non-playable characters, NPCs. When they come on the screen and do their thing, it's still one cut. Like it's very interesting, very very interesting. So I want to see it firsthand. I've been avoiding God of War reviews and video like the plague. So I'm ready to just buckle down tomorrow when I get off work and just dive into this masterpiece.
One last question on God of War. I want to hear from you when it comes to its long-term future. If it continues to get that kind of support and also as well get those kind of sales that you and I are hoping for this game because it's doing so well on a critical basis, do you see this as a thing going forward for the God of War series, and that maybe a God of War 2 or a God of War 3, so to speak, or whatever they're going to call it going forward, more iterations of God of War are now going to be on the table because this game has now garnered so much acclaim?
Um, I would hope so, but again, like this is not the God of War that we knew. From what I understand, this is not the Kratos that we played on the PlayStation 2, the Kratos that whose journey we finished on the PlayStation 3. This is a new Kratos. This is a new Kratos. He has his past are in those games, but this is a completely new character going on a completely different path. This is like the last games were written by a someone who just this game is supposed to play out like a novel, whereas the other games play out like comic books in a way. So this has like a lot of depth and elegance to it, whereas the other ones were just kind of visual feasts.
Well, I know Rob and I, back a couple weeks ago in the Cosmic Crossfire, debated over whether we liked this change. I personally, from someone who has such a great affection for the Uncharted series, see the similarities in what it is trying to do in telling a narrative and the way it's structuring its game. I am wholeheartedly for it. I'm wholeheartedly for it. I know he was pretty much against it because he likes the traditional God of War Kratos, I'm mad at the gods, kill, 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 slash combo, 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 combo that we've seen now on at least more than one occasion. So I'm glad to see it going into a more of a modern sense with a storytelling narrative with outstanding visual look and with an outstanding visual look and also a great story and a great narrative to support it as well. So I'm definitely excited for that. I'm hoping Rob will come back around. I'm, in fact, probably going to ask him at some point in time here in the near future about his thoughts now that there's such great acclaim for this version of God of War. What are your thoughts on
Oh,
God of
sorry,
War?
real
Go ahead.
quick. Um, I'll tell you what this is going to do, though. This is going to prove that there is a demand for single player story driven games, and also that we're being split up into two factions as far as game players and game developers go. It's going to be there are going to be game developers who will cater to the story driven players, and then there's developers who are going to jump on the bandwagon of multiplayer games, which we will talk about here soon in a second. But yeah, it's there's going to be a division here, and it's going to be you're either one side or the other. I'm really excited for the future right now.
I am as well, but it also shows that yes, even though everybody is still excited for the next Mario, the next Zelda on Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch, that when a game like this is comes out and it's exclusive to a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One or the PC, but when a game that looks this good, that plays this well, comes out on a platform that unfortunately Nintendo can't match at this point, it makes it hard for people to just go ahead and say, I'm going to play the Nintendo Switch exclusively, as we've seen over the past few months that they've been ditching their PlayStation 4 and they've been ditching their Xbox One for exclusivity on the Nintendo Switch. Playing something like God of War, which you cannot play on the Nintendo Switch because it's so graphic, because the graphics are so realistic and so very well made, and just basically the memory and the power of the Nintendo Switch can't support something that looks that good. At least it still shows that there is going to be a market for this type of game on a platform, and that there is still a need for a platform like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, even though the Nintendo Switch has become so popular, and rightly so. But it's great to see that God of War is getting all this acclaim, and it definitely shows that there is a future for the PlayStation 4, even though it is on the downside. But with if games like this, Detroit Become Human, Detroit Become Human, The Last of Us 2, and other PlayStation exclusives come out that are at any similar kind of quality to this game, then it's a great sign for PlayStation to be able to extend the life of its own PlayStation 4 and not have to rush out a PlayStation 5 anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the what are your thoughts on the what are your thoughts on God of War? Are you excited about it? Are you really don't care about it? You excited that you have a PlayStation and you're going to be able to get another great exclusive game for it? Does it make you want to get a PlayStation 4 if you don't have one already? Or does it want to make you upgrade to a or does it want to make you upgrade to a PlayStation 4 Pro? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, like I said, it's going to be a great, great episode we have for you today. We've got a lot on the books to talk about, including trailers galore when I come back with Rob McCallum in the Cosmic Crossfire. Josh and I will be back later in the show to talk Call of Duty and its different direction that is rumored to be heading in. Plus, also as well, how Spider-Man Homecoming has given new life to Sony and the MCU. All this and more is coming up, but first we've got our good friend Chad and Hyperschmidt, and this is we've got our good friend Chad and Hyperschmidt, and this is which I'm going to choose. And this is Fighting Eyes, and this is the PCC Multiverse. Let's see, is this Fighting Eyes that long? Oh, that's not the Fighting Eyes one. This is live performance. Yeah, he does. Okay. All right. I found it. Okay. And we're back once again with the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you sticking around with us and enjoying the program. And as always, we gotta let you know our shows are being streamed 7 days a week on online radio, and that we deliver 2 brand new shows each week covering the latest in pop culture every Monday and Friday to Apple Podcasts and over 30 different podcast networks. All you have to do is just subscribe to any one of these networks on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel to get extra content, or just check out the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page for our entire listing, for our entire radio station schedule, and a list of those podcast networks. Josh, you've got a great thing going on with Humanica Media. I know you got a ton of stuff on the way, so please share with us what's going on with your great site and your great experience known as Humanica Media.
Funny you ask. No, we have a new episode of Topic Eclipse went up yesterday, and I will be posting a new one up this weekend. It's an interview with our. And we're just sitting back and just chatting. And
Wait, it was an interview with who?
Chad Smith of Hyperschmidt, our good friend.
Well, what do you know? Fancy that. I saw him at NAB last week. He's looking well. He's so excited about all of his future projects. So definitely that's a great thing to get a better breakdown of what's going on with Chad and Hyperschmidt. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, and there's a new Super BS coming at you on Thursday. I'm told it sounds better. We got some new equipment, so hopefully that promise is fulfilled there. And also, you can catch us on the Podcast Radio Network on Tuesday nights. Gerald, go ahead and tell him what time.
Because he's given up trying to guess. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday nights. It's Attack of the Humanicans on the Podcast Radio Network, where you can catch our shows, the Pop Culture Cosmos show on Monday night, and the PCC Multiverse on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And thank you to everyone who listens to us on the Podcast Radio Network. You've made our Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse the number 1 and 2 shows on the network again for the month of March. And we truly appreciate it as always and cannot thank you enough for doing so. Josh, Call of Duty, man, it never seems to go away as far as for too long in the video game scene. I mean, we've talked about the craze over Fortnite, which is absolutely huge at this time, where you talk about PUBG, which was the originator as far as the game that everybody was talking about first before Fortnite hit it big. We talked about so many other games. We've talked about God of War, just really on the doorstep of being a great game itself and getting out there and becoming a big hit on its own. The next Call of Duty, rumors abound from Polygon and other sources that the next Call of Duty will not have a standard 6 to 8 hour campaign like pretty much every other version that has ever come before it, and that they're ditching it in favor of more uh, multiplayer stuff, DLC, zombie stuff. Obviously, that's been a very popular mode for them. But also, they are rumored to be now considering adding, here it comes, a battle royale mode. So I ask you, Josh, are you excited for this change? And are you excited for the fact that there is not going to be a campaign as part of the next Call of Duty? Rumored, of course, but it looks like it's a good rumor and pretty valid at this point in time.
Go ahead and post production, just put a bunch of boo noises. Actually, I haven't cared about Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2, but uh this is what I was talking about. There's going to be a divide here where developers are either going to dive full force into the single player story experience, or they're going to dive into the multiplayer experience. I guarantee you that this non I don't even know how they're going to call it a Call of Duty Black Ops game without a campaign. It's just going to be Call of Duty Online. That's what they should just call it. That just call it Call of Duty Online. But it's going to be a game, and it's going to be filled with microtransactions. It's basically going to be Destiny but without a story, and for Call of Duty players. And everyone's trying to, we're going to see that more and more now. We're going to see the shooters try to copy Fortnite, PUBG, and I just don't they're going to beat themselves to death, and at the end of the day Fortnite and PUBG will still be the preferred games of choice.
It reminds me of the days when Gears of War came out with the Horde mode, and everyone tried to do their own Horde mode, and everyone is like, some were as good, some were, almost as good enough, but most were just really fell flat on its face. And it reminds me so much of that period of time when everyone was trying to be a copycat to what Gears of War had done, as far as the Gears of War series had done with the Horde mode. And now everybody wants to do a battle royale. I know you're playing a battle royale game that wants to be as successful as PUBG and Fortnite right now in the Darwin, what is it, Darwin Initiative?
Exclusive dish right here. It's not.
Fair enough. But what's it called? The Darwin?
The Darwin Project.
Okay. The Darwin Project. Yeah. The Darwin Project. Yeah, I can imagine it's not going to be as good or as fulfilling as Fortnite or PUBG, but that leads me into talking about seeing Call of Duty having its own battle royale mode. Maybe even Red Dead Redemption 2 could have one. The next Battlefield could have one. There's so many other these AAA games that are now probably going to dip their toes into the water. You're right. It's really not going to go. We've seen this before in the video game industry, where there's so much copycatting, and it really just takes the air out of everyone's sails, and that might actually end up hurting PUBG and Fortnite as a whole, because people would just be so tired of battle royale games as a whole because of it. So it's kind of disappointing that's the case, and they took it out. It all depends how you look at it in regards to Call of Duty taking out the campaign. I will probably say that it is a little bit disappointing for me, because some of the Call of Duty campaigns have really been enjoyable to play through. I'm going to name Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare as my favorite Call of Duty campaign. That was a pleasure to play through, and I know there's been a few others that are pretty good as well. But like you said, Call of Duty 2 was actually a pretty good campaign to go through from what I remember as well. So I'm not exactly thrilled with this option, but then again, a lot of people just either played through the Call of Duty campaign just once so they could get to the multiplayer, or they just went to the multiplayer and just disregarded it entirely. I know Activision has kept stats on who has actually played through the campaign, and if they've seen diminishing returns on that, then it makes sense to just ditch it out altogether and get right to the multiplayer, the zombies, and what they're now famous for and what they're now well known for doing at this point in time. But going into a battle royale mode, I'm not exactly in love with that either. I think they should leave it to Fortnite, or also as well PUBG, unless they can actually bring something new to the table, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do so. Final thoughts on that?
I think it's stupid. This is like, I don't know, man. This is like when how like Christian production companies see a movie do well, and then there's like 50 more Christian production companies that make movies and then close up shop 6 months later. This is what we're gonna see with these multiplayer video game things. It's a fad, people trying to cash in on the fad, and it's gonna turn out the fad's not is much of a fad as they thought, even with a loyal fan base of Call of Duty. If you want to basic I'm curious, yes, how many people play it for the campaign, but you know, the other Black Ops games seem to have pretty good following, and if their people don't like this one, they're just going to go back and keep playing the older entries. The thing that keeps bringing people back to these new Call of Duty games is they're allegedly offering new things. If they're not offering something new here, then they're going to see just how many people are willing to, how many true fans they have.
I agree with you on that. And the declining player base could be something that Activision has really not enjoyed. Over the past few years, they have seen declining numbers, although last year was a little bit of an uptick for them, if in that case, as far as people actually coming back to play year in, year out with the latest installments of Call of Duty. So this will be a very interesting test if it actually comes to fruition and there is not a campaign, if there will be a backlash, if there is a battle royale mode, if there is a backlash, and if it ultimately hurts or helps Call of Duty by not having a single player campaign. What are your thoughts on Call of Duty's uh, rumored decision to not include a single player campaign? Are you with it? Are you not with it? Do you just go straight to the multiplayer and ignore it entirely? Or do you even care that Call of Duty may not have a single player campaign? Or do you always look forward to playing through once or twice the single player campaign as a way to de-stress, or as a way to go ahead and relax, maybe before you get into the intensity of fighting in the middle of the either the zombie modes or the usual excellent or very good multiplayer modes that Call of Duty has? Share us your thoughts. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. When we come back, we've got our thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming as we continue to break down the Marvel Cinematic Universe ahead of Infinity War. How has it helped Sony, and how has it helped the MCU? We're going to share our thoughts on that. This is the PCC This is the PCC Multiverse. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is again the PCC Multiverse. Thank you so much for sticking around and enjoying the entire program. Want to thank Rob McCallum in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire, talking about all the great things going on with those trailers and so much more. Just truly appreciate him breaking down all that stuff with me. And then obviously, Josh, thank you so much for sticking around for the entire show and sharing your thoughts. Just want to let you know this weekend, just want to let you know next week, it's going to be such a big week. We're so excited for Marvel's Infinity War. It's coming out this time next week, and we're going to be sharing our thoughts on it. Obviously, we're going to finish our Marvel breakdown with Black Panther, but we're obviously going to pay a lot of attention over the next week with our two shows talking about all the great things going on with Infinity War. I know also as well we're going to be talking a little bit about The Walking Dead. So definitely we're going to have a special. Definitely looking forward to having a special guest on in regards to the not only the last installment of The Walking Dead, but also the future for the series as well. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about Netflix with Tyler Baker, hopefully as well. So definitely got a lot of things on plate for you and cannot wait to have you a part of it. Josh, before we head on out, want to just share your thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming, something that the series as a whole with the Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man movies that have come out previously this century for Sony have been a hit or miss prospect. I know you liked them a little bit more than I did. I know there's some episodes, some installments that you really liked more than I did, and that you really liked more than a lot of the other individuals that are out there that have watched all the Spider-Man installments as a tribute to and almost like a love fest to a lot of John Hughes 80s films, but also still managed to weave its way into being a very, very good Marvel film, and very enjoyable to see it combine itself with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Tom Holland's Spider-Man has become very effective, obviously after his appearance in Civil War, and now with Homecoming being such a key component going forward for not only the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with him being a major player within that realm, but also leading into other things with a new kind of quote unquote Spider-Verse with Venom and so many other things, talking about Miles Morales and so many other things that are going to be exclusive to Sony as it goes forward with its own kind of Spider-Man universe. Your thoughts on what Spider-Man Homecoming did as far as reinvigorate the Spider-Man brand for Sony, but also making himself important and a vital part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. I wasn't a huge fan of Spider-Man Homecoming. It's not because I don't like Tom Holland. It's not because I don't like that character. It's because I didn't like the idea of him being so reliant on the Iron Man side of the universe to have a standalone film, and I get that he was trying to, like, they're going through the whole, like, Ultimate Comics, arch where he was being trained on how to be a superhero by Iron Man, but that featured Iron Man, that featured him doing stuff with Iron Man, and this, it was just he was always just looking for Iron Man or Tony Stark's approval, and that got really annoying to me really fast. Again, like, I really, really loved the Amazing Spider-Man stories. I not the second one, it's meh, but uh, those were. I guess I kind of went into Spider-Man: Homecoming not giving it a fair chance originally, just because I really wanted to see how the Amazing Spider-Man was going to play out, and I had heard that they offered. I know they offered Andrew Garfield the job of Spider-Man, but he turned him down, and then they decided to go a different direction. But yeah, no, man, I don't know. Like, I want to see a Spider-Man exist code not be codependent on other heroes in his movies. I like to see them come together, and that's always neat for me. Like in the comic books, I see Spider-Man jump into this world with all these other characters, and I like that he's in the MCU. But in his standalone films, I want to see him stand alone. Like, I would like to see. There's so many good Spider-Man story arcs out there that they n I hope that they do, but they won't be able to do if they're gonna always tie him to other heroes in his films, and that's what I'm afraid they're gonna do going forward. And, as for Homecoming, yeah, it was a decent movie. I didn't, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the dependence on Tony Stark and the Vulture. Everything in that movie seemed a little too convenient. There's not a lot of things were really elaborated on. It's just kind of they use dialogue to tie pieces together.
And they
It was
messed up the timeline, which was really a boneheaded move.
right, and they messed up the timeline. Yeah, I liked it, but I didn't like it. I want to see more out of it. As far as their next movies go, and it would be cool, yeah, to eventually see Spider-Man and Venom either team up or fight each other. it would be really cool. Everyone forever has always wanted to see Spider-Man take on Carnage, and I don't know if we'll ever get the chance to see that ever. I hope that they do because that would sell so many movie tickets. It would be absolutely ridiculous because every kid who grew up watching Spider-Man in the 90s remembers Venom. Not Venom, but Carnage. And that would yeah, that would be the end game for Spider-Man. I would be completely satisfied never seeing another Spider-Man movie again if they showed Carnage. But I ask you, Jared, Gerald, how do you feel about this?
Well, I will say this, that I think they will become less reliant on the MCU with Spider-Man's own movies going forward. I think you'll see less involvement. I think you'll see a sprinkle of it, but I don't think you'll see much more than that. I know Sony wants to, like I said, it goes back to stuff we've talked about a year ago in regards to this, that Sony wanted to just reinvigorate the Spider-Man brand, so they went ahead and they said they gave the okay to put him in the Civil War. I think after a period of time, you're going to see Spider-Man stand out on his own with his own movies and do exactly what you want him to do, and that's be pretty much a solo artist within the Sony versions of their Spider-Man films. Now, will he still be a part of the MCU in phase 2, excuse me, in phase 4 and going forward? I think you'll still see appearances by him even beyond what has been rumored to be contracted. So, and even beyond the Infinity War that's coming up next week, or what else is coming out, whatever the Infinity War Part 2 movie is going to be called in 2019. I think you're going to see him still a part of that universe because I think it's effective for both parties for him to be included as far as in the MCU. With his movies, I think you're going to see less involvement from the MCU. I think that's probably what Sony is going to want going forward, and that you're going to see a bigger involvement by individuals within the Spider-Man universe, including what Donald Glover's character in the film, also as well. Like I said, Miles Morales, he was mentioned. I think you're going to probably see something emanating from that as well, and I think you eventually will see a clash or a teaming up with Venom, and you could. I really think that at some point in time, Carnage will be used at some point in time, and that hopefully will be something that you'll def, and that hopefully will be something that will meet your satisfaction.
Yeah, I hope so. And no, I like having him in the MCU. I like seeing him team up, but I just like on his solo outings, I really just don't want to see other heroes unless it serves some kind of purpose, but I don't want him to be reliant, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think
Uh,
as he gets older and he gets more mature, I think you're going to see that. I think as his character matures more, I think that's exactly what you're going to see.
yeah, well, I hope so. But yeah, we'll have to see what the next one. I'm excited to see his part in Infinity War, and we'll see what the next Spider-Man thing holds. But I get why Homecoming exists because they needed that to kind of elaborate more on that character. So I imagine he's going to play a pretty big role in Infinity War.
I definitely believe that as well. And it looks from all, and from what we've already seen so far, that he is going to be a great part of the MCU and also Sony Pictures from this point forward. What are your thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming? Did you enjoy it? Do you really like the fact that Spider-Man is back in Sony's great good graces as far as being something that they want to create as far as their own universe? Are you also happy the fact that he's part of the MCU and about ready to possibly even battle Thanos coming up here very soon? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, Josh, it's been another great episode indeed. For those that are downloading, as a special treat, just want to let you know we've got a special episode of Topicocalypse covering Marvel Phase 1 that's coming up right after the end of this show. And Josh, it's been a great one indeed. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, check out the episode. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Get the PCC show just spread throughout the galaxy, not just these cosmos, but all the cosmos There are. Just spread it around.
Spread that love. And if you get a chance, please just go ahead and subscribe to our channels, Pop Culture Cosmos, and also as well to the Topicocalypse, What About This, and Super BS Gamescast channels. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you so much for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.